Dire are scanning.
Relatively fire through the bristle back.
Very good. So, I mean, Talon on really forcing the
ใครชนะอยู่เนี่ยโอเคทารอน
5 seconds on the one of
ฮีโร่ PA ว่ะ
Talon fights better from they want to be in this sort of advantageous
PA โอ้โห
even going to be able to get away
เล่นยากเว้ย
I just care that this year was no slide.
Yeah.
It is a different beast. So this KDM, because he's got the gold, he's got the satanic ability complete. I think just went now blessing the set up, satanic getting completed as well. So the maturity
so huge, man. Just needs to be able to ensure the rupture, right? It's still rupture.
แหลกจังเว้ย
As long as you've got the satanic to be up any of that, you're not really.
เปลี่ยนไปดูบนนี้ดีกว่า น่าจะดีขึ้นใช่ไหมอิช
Brimstone for vision as well.
That's not quite with the boys. He's gone for his own break. A bristle back going break up against a PA.
I see the Watcher getting taken. No pings though. Makoto almost running straight into them. It's a jump. Tofu will start. They've got the vision advantage. Instant rolling thunder. It's Quinn's going to try and hunt the back lane. Second use of the rupture. Quinn's going to have to stand in the middle. Where's Q to be able to get the kick away? Now Quinn, he's isolated from the team. It's all up to Duracho now, but the rupture's used. He should be free inside to fight. He's going to try and chase down Makoto to the south. A quick disengage gets him out of danger. They're not done just yet though. Ace hunting for more, but Talon retreated to the safety of their high ground. Do they want to go in though?
It's just such good team play coming out from Gaming Gladiators, man, right? Like, you're going in, you're popping the satanic, you're getting down to about 30%. Quinn able to heal up to a very, very healthy portion. And then the perfect timing from the grab ally. Not too early, not too late, making sure that if you were wanting to get up onto that high ground, you're competing into zero vision, into a tombstone layer down at you. And by the time he pops out, you're playing alongside of a Keeper of the Light, right? So he's going to have another set of spells to be able to play around with too, with no ruptures left.
Racha's just ready for someone to step a little bit too far forward to blow him up. No one will give him that opportunity though, so they'll go back at a T2 tower.
It's a juicy one. Of course, this is the area that you always need to be a little bit concerned about going up against an Aghanim Scepter Tusk, going into high ground, and feels like that might be what Gaming Gladiators are looking to play for next. Find another one of these pickoffs onto Q so that you're not going to have that risk of getting kicked back with a rupture underneath tier 4 towers.
Uh-oh. That is a scary rune. Scary rune, and they're going to be able to find it as well. So Duracho's bottom side, Quinn's probably going to take it. Roche potentially up in 15 seconds. They've got full control of this left outpost area. Did they lose the gem as well in that fight? No. Okay, so Ollie's still holding it, and still a pipe dream of this Hex.
He's getting close. Billy coming in value. Even just his own level 18 would be pretty nice. Extra second on the Frostbitten. Extra little bit of damage.
Dude, probability is 50-50, dead even.
Yep. Feels that way. It honestly feels like Gaiman need to mess up once. Kind of like what we saw last time around, right? Like, these team fights haven't gone swimmingly for Talon. Like, it's just been really good play by Quinn and Celery in particular. They're just understanding of where exactly each other want to move, where each other needs to be, has been just on point.
Wait, this is a scary bridge to cross. Early will lead the charge, wants to drop his own ward, which completely scouts Talon out. And Duracho's going to be able to jump as well, but the break's there. Charge is in a lot of danger. Refreshes his health ball thanks to the cheese. Now Duracho down low. They blow him up. No Duracho for the team fight. Talon, you've got to get more. This is your one opportunity. They'll try and cross the bridge back to their side of the map. Ace wants to try and disrupt them, but the tornado clips on 4. Duracho will bite back, but he's way too far away from the team. Ace is going to hold down Savage on the right side. Ace just
Talon
the Bloodseeker. Now there's a big opportunity. Gladiators, they'll need to get more out of this. The investment out of the buybacks is costly. As Quinn should stop Makoto on the retreat. If they got detection, it looks like they do. Or try and TP out, but the rock throw will stop him short as Gladiators somehow come out on top.
How did he do that much damage? I suppose maybe he had the blood mist running at the exact same time as the blade mail was being popped there by Ace, but literally 100-0 on that Bloodseeker. Crazy amount of damage done by him, and now he's level 25 as well, so got even longer duration there on the pulverize. You're just going to be able to completely lock people out of the fight. They're going to go for a cheeky play once again, but GG, they're not phased. They're just going to finish this Roshan and get a refresher shot in their own.
So I guess the big thing is the fact that multiple really important buybacks were used. Of course, we're looking at the Duracho buyback. I mean, Celery's is nice, but there is a win condition now. If you killed Duracho twice, this game looks very different.
Just kill him twice. It's easy.
Easy. Yeah, killed him once that time.
Once. That's the difference maker. And again, it's the scary prospect of going up onto the high ground. I want to see how much pressure they put up onto this high ground when they don't have the Bloodseeker, when they don't have the Invoker. And if Talon have the cojones to use this buyback, if Q is able to get into a good position for a kickback, they might be able to do it.
Oh, they're looking for maybe being able to blow him up. 4-0. Celery again. This tombstone save. And now you've just sacrificed Q's life. And Bristle's in a little bit of trouble as well, but the breakout, Ace sees an opportunity to be able to charge in the middle. Savage tries to do what he can, but it's not going to matter. Now Duracho senses an opportunity. Makoto with the tornado will the shop. The combo's going to get laid down. Kick further inside the base game, and Gladiators. What can you do on the respawn? You just even sacrifice his life. Quinn will try and give an opportunity for the Phantom Strike, but the instant hex is finally there. And now they're looking for more as well. Ace, kick back. This is the opportunity Talon have been waiting for. Ace will go down without a doubt. It's just a question of can they get more kills. As Savage will not be able to cancel Quinn's TP, but that is the dieback on Duracho. 100 seconds for Talon now.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, you had to use a couple of buybacks onto Jabs and Q. Well worth it. They were just wanting to wait things out, get that Satanic. Perfect use of the stun combination to make sure that you really didn't get too much value out of the PA. And you see the lines being drawn out by Savage. He is like, we are ending this game right now. We're not going to get a better opportunity. 50-minute creep wave, double siege creeps, and plenty of units to be able to soak up all of this multi-shots if Talon if Gaming Gladiators choose to commit that Glyph of Protection. Obviously not wanting to do it for a tier 2, wouldn't be refreshed, but now's the time. Can they do it?
If anyone shows they might just jump again, you know there's no buyback from the Pengo. Quinn in the middle. Hang on, Bloodseeker? What is the damage on Savage? It's going to be really cautious, but we're going to just try and waste as much time. But again, if anyone's nearby, Q may look for the opening with the kick. He's starting to run up.
Jabs is just softening up a little bit.
Wait, Jabs?
Why not?
Dude! Quinn's in trouble now as well. Sorry again.
Remember?
Oh my lord, these tombstones, but it is just space. One building down. What's the call from Talon?
Call is to keep on going. They want to have this map advantage. They want to keep Gaming Gladiators fighting on their side of the map. They don't want that instant pick off into a dieback, into the inability to be able to fight, and they know it's 20 seconds until the PA is a concern.
Jabs doesn't have the greatest mana pool for this fight.
I don't think they want to take a fight at all. Yeah, they're going to clean up what is possible, and then they're going to get the hell out of there.
Look at the respect, man. Far out. Not give a opportunity. This is still just under 4 minutes where there is not a buyback for Duracho, and they have showcased they have the capability to be able to kill him inside these fights, and if you can somehow kite the primal, now there does seem to be a potential damage issue.
All right, at least this time Makoto was there on the bottom side of the river because there was another freaking double damage, but Invoker ends up picking it up this time.
But Daedalus, dude. All right, let's see what Makoto can do.
Oh, jeez.
He
still wants to keep alacritying himself. No vessel charges is a bit of a concern.
Buyback status as a whole this game. Savage and Makoto, the only ones on Talon. Gaming Gladiators. Quinn's going to have enough gold in 80. And of course, the Dynamo AC's got enough as well.
Going for another move. And they find the pick off. Even wonder, Q's got a Octarine queued up. I understand it. Just wanting to get more Walrus kicks. I wouldn't hate seeing him go a Silver Edge as well.
It's a good ward.
Another way.
It's a really good ward. Smoke's gonna pop. Good reaction.
So quick. And Celery, I think, has been the MVP.
They're coming.
GG so far.
Smoke's gonna pop. Oh, isn't it a really peculiar position where they can just blow up the support? A quick guaranteed kill onto an easy opportunity. Gives them a 4v5 and potentially more as well as Q's gonna go down. These are the heroes without buyback. Savage.
No, Savage, he trapped himself.
He can be in TP, but you got to make a call pretty shortly. He's going to TP now. His ace disrupted the charge. Won't stop him, but dude, now no one's there.
The guy that died back.
No one is with jabs. It's just Makoto as well. But the Invoker, he also needs to get out of danger. That is a disastrous team fight. The worst thing that could possibly happen is Savage is going to try and do whatever he can, but one crit jump over the top. Duracho will not let Savage get back to the base. And now they sense blood in the water. Makoto as well. You could not have had anything worse happen for Talon. And now as a result, Makoto, they'll catch up to him as well. By
อะไรวะเนี่ยทำไมวันนี้เน็ตไม่ค่อยดีอะไรวะเนี่ย
It's a miracle hold. Gladiator's one fight away of getting some revenge when Talon knocked him out of Riyadh. Let's see what the combo is going to be. Oh, it's not on the mark. You tried to set up with the tornado. They're just going to go for the throne. Duracho might die to the Sunstrike. That's a big start. Makoto's putting in work in the defense. Ace will try and turn to Savage, but Q kicks him right next to the fountain. That is the damage they need to bring down the Primal Beast as well, and they have held. We are not done just yet. The Savage will also stop Celery from getting out of maybe Celery. Oh, cute. Nice prediction. All right, it's able to catch up the Celery, so at least there will be a third member that does go down.
One of those members that did buy back previously. That's his dieback, even though it's up in another 5 or so seconds. But you could just see how anxious 23 Savage was there, not wanting to full on commit. He'd bought back himself, and he's going for a freaking E-Blade, man. He just wants that extra little bit of damage. They want 100 to 0 people with this Rupture Kick combination.
What is this game, dude? What is this game?
I'm happy that we're getting a close one.
Yes, today's been more one-sided. A lot of 2-0s. I don't know if this one is going to be 2-0 as well. Are they just...
Oh.
All right, let's see. What can you do, Talon?
If there was any time to buy out, this is it. I mean, Savage could look to get into that start of the E-Blade pretty soon, but it won't change too much of anything. Second lane of Rax going in their favor. So again, the lanes are passively just going to be helping them somewhat. It's just a matter of, can you afford to wait another 5 minutes? I don't think GG is going to give them that opportunity with Roshan potentially respawning right now. It's pretty quick. 45 seconds and they'll know it's around the top side of the map. Are we getting him? Are we getting the tier 5 items?
We may be. Some big items, so nonetheless, with the Lincolns, late game Lincolns, 56 minutes in, both Duracho and Ace wanting to go down this route. So this could be just something that catches them by surprise on Talon to mess up a little bit of the spell casting. Have to keep an eye on those Lincolns inside these fights. Four
That
Lincolns,
was what
dude.
allowed Quinn to be, that's what I was saying before, right? If it gets super late, doesn't matter how many ruptures you have if you're just able to Lincoln them constantly. At least it's not the old meta, right? When it was a Medusa with like 4 different Lincoln's buffs on her, you actually need to have an element of skill of being able to pop them. Tofu really wants to be able to deward this observer, and he's making sure it's Duraccio is the one that does it to not give away too much about their smoke.
Importantly, buybacks are there now. Two
Oh,
members of Talon.
Not for Talon, though.
Jabs is on the front line. They're going to try and poke at the Bristle back to start. Blinding Light pushes him out of Ace's charge in the middle with an early BKB out of Jabs. It should be okay. Looks like that's all. Makoto's in.
Rolling Thunder's a big deal. And yeah, look at bottom.
Yeah.
It's pushing in. Someone's going to have to TP back. Do you have the shard on Coddle? You don't. So I want to see if we do see Tofu look to try and pick that one up just so that you can recall Quinn back to the fight if absolutely necessary. And they'll see first that Roshan is up.
His Iron Build on Savage is crazy. I know you brought up the Yasha and Kai before. He's got Timeless Relic.
Yep.
Very interesting.
All about
read.
that spell damage, man. Just let the Blood Rage, let the shard and the Aghanim Scepter do the work.
Yeah, there's the shard, and as Quinn re-delivered once again, Gladiator is such a power position for them on this high ground with the ward. It is very difficult for Talon to be able to break that. They're just going to have to wait for the lane to get pushed in. That's the main thing. So they will have to go back eventually.
They've got scouting tools, right? Like you can use the hairball for it. They could use the Sunstrike for it. They could use the Forge Spirits for it. Lots of things, but you just got to be careful on Ollie in particular.
Just patience.
Don't put yourself too far forward. Yep.
Patience, that's it. No glyph.
From Zoe, it is the road to TI. I just want to see them keep a Forge Spirit inside the pit.
And
They will.
All right. One person's back. Duraccio will TP. Of course, again, yes, with the Coddle.
They got the recall. And we got 40 seconds until potential tier 5 items. So not the worst place for GG to be holding up here, up on the top side. Then again, it is going to be moving down bottom in about 30 seconds, right? And you have to be very careful about that if you're Talon, right? Like if you TP down bottom to be able to contest this, yeah they're actually going to set up early. They're not sending those Forge Spirits up onto the high ground, so they don't know about this. So if you TP down, they're already going to be there. And then if you buy back, you're not going to be able to TP there again. So they could once again look to isolate this Talon roster. They've been doing such a good job of it so far, despite not really having the tools to do it. Really nice Sunstrike coming out there from Makoto, predicting the fact that they were already down there. So instead, they TP down to their tier 3 tower, and they're just going to look to run it in. Still would mean that they won't have those buyback TPs. So it's going to be another one of this cat and mouse sort of games where can they just look to wait it out until their TPs are back off cooldown?
Duraccio is not here currently. It's supposed to try and scout and give them really much information. Duraccio is trying to get these neutral items. One will be dropped now.
Aces as well.
Level 5 ไอเทมมาแล้ว
The shadows from Savage.
Their shield's not bad for a freaking rupture.
Is Makoto just trying to see if Duraccio is going to deal with this wave? I guess this is a nice thing where Talon can kind of intercept anyone looking to get to Gaming Gladiator's position.
Yep, they're using the Forge Spirits division around the pit, so they know they're not losing a big objective. Someone's going to have to deal with this, so it's just a question of how are they going to be able to respond to it. It's the siege creep wave as well, right? So someone needs to be addressing a lot of these super creeps that have pushed into the GG base, but they're being patient. They're just getting their tier 5 items, and now it looks like the recall back onto Duraccio, and they're going to try and slip inside.
Quinn did just TP away, though.
They know they're in. They know they're in, but you got recall, man. It's going to be up soon.
It's a Sunstrike to scout. A little bit split at the moment from Talon. It's not going to matter. Roche just getting poked.
Fallen Sky by Pango. It's just more time that you're invulnerable, right? Not going to be taking damage from that rupture, providing a little bit of that extra control that the PA needs.
Spoken about how the Talon have the capability with bottom and mid getting pushed out. You see the same as well with top. It's a big wave that Ollie has to go back to deal with. It's a catapult wave as well, so they don't want to give over this full set of barracks.
At least it's an AA, so you can still have that big team fight impact.
Oh, shit.
It is, but
They've finally found a little bit of isolation. No one's claimed that one for right now.
Quinn He's not going to mess around. Instant rolling thunder. Looking to get to the back line. There's the link.
Oh.
Savage. He's in a lot of danger. Duracho is going to try and close the distance. Savage, can he get any lives? Still back. It's too late for Makoto spellcasting. Still, they will get a return kill. Can Makoto slip under the cover of the invis though? Ace has got the detection. Pulverize slams him into the ground. The buyback to the pivotal thing is they're already back in the middle thanks to Tofu's hell. Can they get any more off the back? Ace is going to try and get onto the jabs. They'll separate themselves. Two fights are breaking out simultaneously. His jabs uncontested so far, but he's not going to have the mana or the health shortly as well. As the breaks are proving too much of an issue. Look at the mid base though. Makoto, he just brought back to Makoto. This is an all or nothing play. Quinn's going to need some assistance as well. They'll get the TP in from jabs. Take over for the throne, man. Someone needs to respond.
It happened to them at Riyadh with Liquid. They're trying to see if they can do it themselves.
But they're not going to have the numbers. Jabs is pretty goddamn survivable. Two fights again are happening to Duracho. He's not with the boys. There could be an opportunity. Duracho and Savage going toe-to-toe. They're going to push him down to the southern side. I mean, back to mid, we see Jabs and Quinn. The BKB protects the Bristol back down to the south we go. Ice Blast connects. When is an opportunity for Savage? First Hex is out, and that's all they need. A dieback on Duracho. 2 minutes without your Phantom Assassin. Are you kidding me?
They didn't die on Talon as well. They were somehow able to get away on both Jabs and Makoto, get away with murder, forcing everyone away back to the base in Q, interrupting the TP return from Duracho as well. And they're still having to be very careful about this, though. They're backing off. They're using the Book of Shadows just to try and give themselves a little bit of a reprieve against the likes of that PA whenever she tries to jump on them.
3v5, who cares? Gladiators have the confidence charging at Talon. They do not want to let this Roche go.
Got to care a little bit.
80 seconds still to get Roche and also go for the base.
This is your
best opportunity, Talon, to send us to a game 3.
Yeah, and Makoto is about to get an Aghanim Scepter for himself as well, you would assume. Just getting himself that little bit of extra control.
Do they go for it?
Being one of the ones that bought back, he's the one to claim the Aegis of the Immortal.
Surely, right? 50 seconds?
60 seconds, yeah. Ollie not with them for now. Just once again, looking to influence this top side of the map.
No way. Oh, no way. They're not going to go for the finishing blow, so we will stick around for a little bit longer. And I have
before, and I'll say it again, late game Dota is where C really shines.
Dude, why is there a rapier on Oli? What am I looking at? What is this?
Attack from range, Ollie, do it.
It's all or nothing now. You just got to go for it. 25 seconds. Quinn's onto Makoto, BKB. They want to deal with the Tombstone. What's the call? Messi inside the team fight. There's a lot of damage from Ace. He's trying to control the backline, making space. The throne is now exposed. Talon, they're going to go straight for the jugular with the Stitch and Desolate on this base. He's falling fast. Still Duracho down for 5 seconds, and it's going to be too long. Talon will send us to a deciding game 3. And what fashion to do it in.
What a play from Makoto and Jabs. The balls on these men, and you can see Celery feels like that's one that got away. You know, they got to those big timings that they needed. They had the solid lanes for themselves. Lanes probably didn't work out the way that they were expecting, but as soon as those Lincolns came up, you see the cheeky little smiles coming out from the Talon boys. They know that this Bloodseeker really was the one to be able to do it for them, but what an early game by Jabs as well to be able to set everything up. This was high quality TI level Dota from both of these teams. It's a shame that one of them is going to be starting in the lower bracket as we're going to be starting to head towards game 3, the first game 3 that we've had of this stage 2 of the playoffs.
But I don't even know what to say with late game Dota. It just, things get so chaotic, messy. You got mirror shields to worry about. You got refreshers, random freaking ancient apparitions, buying a rapier. What is this build? But in the end, Talon, it would come out on top, send us to a game 3. Like you said, the first game 3 of the day as well. I cannot wait to hear what the panel has to say about this wild second game.
A wild game indeed, and areas you might not know what to say about late game Dota. However, Talon Esports have demonstrated time and time again that they know what to do when it comes to these late game situations. We have our first game 3 of the day. Talon Esports going the distance against Game and Gladiators. What a strange game, gods. You've been around the scene for a long time. You've seen many games on the road to internationals. Have you ever seen a game quite like that one?
That was special, and I think TI, when we were just at the road to TI here, but you bring out the best in teams. At times you can bring out some sloppy games because teams aren't playing at their best, but this was honestly two teams just going blow for blow. Even from like the last 20 minutes, it felt like it was just, oh, this team's going to win. Oh, wait, no, the other team actually. And they're just trading buybacks, trading fights, trading roaches. We got to see a Bloodseeker come out on top. The Ags Refresher build really somehow managing to enough work with some of those Walrus kicks to kind of get all that rupture damage in.
That's the only damage he was doing.
Look, it was enough. But just absolutely chaotic, crazy late game Dota. Tier 5 items, everyone loves to see him.
Yeah, just insane. The resourcefulness of Talon allowed them to go for this rupture plus kick, Walrus kick play, which was a lot of fun, and it kind of turned the tides. Like, they started winning against PA. They managed to eliminate her multiple times. Then Gaming Gladiator in the river fight, when they catch both the supports without buybacks, I thought the game was over. I stood up, I sat in this seat, right, because the game was legitimately over. They went for the throne, and they did kind of the right thing, ignoring the heroes, just hitting the building, but they probably didn't count on Mikoto and how much damage he can dish out.
Yep.
Like, even through the BKBs, he just destroyed them, pushed them back out from their base, and this is the fight where it all began, more or less.
Yeah, I think Mikoto did a great job recognizing, like, hey, my Bloodseeker is not doing any right-click damage whatsoever. Kind of took it into his own hands. He was, obviously had the Alacrity, gets the Tier 5 Stygian Deso, gets a Daedalus, and he just became this extra additional damage output in the late game that they desperately need.
Gaining that right-click damage, helping to compound the already existing physical damage coming in from jabs. I mean, we heard at the end there how well jabs did early on. There was a point in the game where not only did he feel unkillable, but the amount of damage he was outputting to the enemy team felt like he's the only reason they were winning those fights to begin with.
Yeah, I'm not sure we're going to see Bristle in Game 3, to be honest. That hero is pretty bonkers, it seems.
Slightly broken, just slightly. But they had ways of dealing with him, right? Like, PA is considered one of stronger heroes to deal with the Bristle. The problem lied elsewhere. Like, you couldn't jump on the Bristle, because if you show your hand, then the Rupture comes in, then the Walrus kick comes in, and the PA is as good as gone. Well,
yeah.
They had some different difficulties here, but regardless, the game was just absolutely insane. The team fight here and down bottom next to the Roshan fight that lasted for like 3 minutes.
Must be good for Talon Esports to be in this position where they're the ones forcing a push, putting their bodies on the line. Memories of Rio probably sprang to mind. 23 Savage glued to his seat at the moment.
No one stood up.
Until that last tick of health in that throne went down. But yeah, I mean, honestly, it was kind of even to the very final seconds very composed, because like they won that fight, PA's dead without buyback, and they're like, no, we have 120 seconds. We can finish off Roge. Bloodseeker even killed some creeps to heal on up a bit. Then they literally killed the throne the second that PA is respawning there. AA buying a rapier and everything just for that final bit of push there. It was very calculated, very disciplined, and not rushed, because a lot of teams would be like, okay, PA said 120 seconds, let's go head rush down the throne, and without the Aegis, things could have gone bad.
I feel like the big difference between these two drafts are basically both of these teams have carries that are absolutely gone in team fights from second one, right? Like, they can't do much. It's all about the other two cores and how much they can contribute, how much they can actually execute. When you look at Gaming Gladiators, like Pangolier and Primal Beast, they're all about setting up. They dish out some damage, but mostly about control and setting up for PA to destroy everyone. PA cannot do that. At the same time, on Talon, you have Bristle and Invoker. Maybe a bit greedier, maybe they don't contribute to that control, but they can carry the game themselves.
Yeah, they can indeed carry the game. The carries, not necessarily all that much, unfortunately. Obviously, Diraicho forced to play the edges of the fight as much as possible, playing around the debuffs as he can. And of course, we have 23 Savage, spell-casting Bloodseeker. You'd love to see it, understanding that his value is going to come from having the quadruple Rupture as much as humanly possible. These are not items that you would imagine a game like this, 60-plus minutes. This is not what I want my Bloodseeker inventory to be normally, but in this game, there's no other option.
Yeah, it was kind of funny, like, Lizard mentioned, like, the Walrus kick was a big timing that helped turn the game. The Bloodseeker in level 25 was a big timing. Getting that extra Rupture, and with Refresher, extra couple of Ruptures made such a big difference in these late game fights. And ultimately, even though he wasn't a carry really by any sense of the word in this game, he was a huge part of why they won, just because of the way he itemized and played to address the PA.
It's the team effort,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And it was that combo that they had, like you mentioned, the Walrus kick rupture. Going into the third game, I doubt we'll see 23 Savage playing Bloodseeker again, but I also doubt we'll see Makoto playing Invoker. You were mentioning in the first game, Lizard, that you were surprised that he was allowed to play it, given how often it's banned out against him. They let it through twice. They beat it the first time. Second time around, it's the reason why Talon's able to win the game. If you're Game and Gladiator in their shoes at the moment, are you starting to reconsider your bans to make sure you either get Puck earlier to win the lane, or are you just banning Invoker heads up?
I'm not sure. Like, after this last game, perhaps you are actually banning out Invoker. Because in game 1, if you remember, they completely let their best heroes go through. Yeah. They let their support duo that was picked every single game yesterday go through. And they still won against it. But this time around, Invoker, maybe he's a little bit too problematic.
And what about the Bristleback? Could you just be... We see this hero being right now one of the most picked heroes in the entire tournament. I believe he's actually number 1 overall. He was losing a lot, but as I think we see more and more teams drop out, we're starting to see the effectiveness of the Hedgehog become a little bit too much, God.
Yeah, I think teams have adapted a lot of even a lot of those losses where teams more playing the Bristle and the carry role. I think teams are understanding, that this hero needs to mostly be played off lane, except maybe under some rare scenarios, and also figuring out what cores work better with it. Like, I think too many teams were picking Bristle with like greedy hard carries, picking it with the TBs, the Nagas. It works much better with these more aggressive fighting carries. Here we had a Bloodseeker. We've seen it work well with Chaos Knight. So I think teams are just getting better at understanding how to draft and play around Bristle, because it is a hero that takes up a lot of space, a lot of farm in the offlane.
Maybe it's a little bit less about the draft and more about which one of these two teams is going to mold less going into game 3, because this game 3 was gut-wrenching for both teams, right? Like, you're hitting the throne, then they're hitting the throne, then you're hitting it. It's like, at some point, it's very exhausting, and you could see it on players' faces for both of these teams.
Yeah, I think like someone like, even if you look, a guy like Quinn is going to feel like, I can take on this guy, this Invoker mid. He took the Pengo here. He had his choice if he wants to go for more of a hard counter pick. He can go into like the Kunkka, for example, that we've seen have a lot of success against the Invoker mid. So, it's sometimes nice knowing the opposing team. Hey, they're going to first to Invoker. We can play and prepare our draft around that. Whereas if you ban it, there's going to be, we don't know what they're going to pick. So if you feel like you can beat the Invoker, which they did in game 1, leaving in the pool could be a drafting strength as well.
I mean, even in this game, right, Quinn on his Pangolier did end up winning the lane quite handedly against that Invoker. Forced him to get like some 19.5-minute Midas. For the longest time, even though Makoto ultimately carried the game, his team had to drag him to that position. Without Jabs having such a good early game, Lizard, we would not be here right now.
Yeah, I mean, Makoto was far behind. He was kind of crawling back up there with his Midas, but it's 2023 and that's Invoker, and on the other side, it's a Pango. Not sure if that's a hero still.
What do we make about some of the greed that came in from Q again? He went for the Midas once more, did it in game 1, didn't necessarily work out. This time around, though, something was different.
Same minute, by the way.
Same minute?
A minute earlier.
But this time he had a Philly Stone as well, so get even more GPM.
Yeah, I mean, being able to get these late game items like his Hex, less so the Rapier, but the Hex at least, was a big part of some of these team fights, having that extra bit of lockdown, being able to maybe catch somebody by surprise before they BKB. So, it's great. I think more than anything, just the AA as a pick this game. We kind of talked a bit about how the two carries were both negating and dealing damage. It wasn't just the other cores where it felt like Talon had a lot of damage, but the supports. A hero like AA is just offering a lot in these late game team fights compared to an Undying, who it felt like was just a tombstone save.
Yeah, Oli, he's been around for quite some time, got a lot of experience in IG, came back into SCA. I feel that he knows his stuff when it comes to this hero. And we were talking in the last series, like, what can you buy on AA? Anything.
Yeah.
But when it comes to Q and his 24-minute Midas, I have complete trust in this guy. He has so much flair, and there's a couple of position 4s right now that are reminiscing me of Jerax. Like, there's a ton of flair in them, and the way that they're playing these Tinies, these Tusks, Matthew as well from EG, like, he's doing his own thing, and I like that a lot.
So on the side of GG, one thing that is concerning for me going into this third and decisive game is the fact that when you look at their draft, they had more of the control, right, relative to what Talon had. Talon had what? They had Snowball, Kick eventually, some Invoker spells. That pretty much comprised most of their active control and team fight. And nonetheless, Gavin still found themselves losing some of these team fights and engagements. That's going to be a bit worrying, right? What do you do now? Is it an issue of trying to double down on that team fight potential? Do you pick heroes with a little bit easier execution? Or do you just go for even more damage, doubling down on the PA route here?
I think you're going to have to stick with to some extent, wait and see what the draft is and stick with what you play and what you play best. I don't think you can just say, okay, we're going to have to go a completely different route, pick a bunch of team fight and control, because that's maybe something they feel was lacking in the previous game. I think the way the drafts work is they're just so complex where you got to take it pick by pick. When you get to the carrier role, they have a bristle. We need something that addresses bristle. PA makes sense. So it's really hard to know outside of maybe them seeing their first couple of picks and what they kind of need to address. Like if they're going to let bristle through, they need a bristle answer, for example.
From what you've seen, Lizard, give me a prediction for the third game. Who are you backing to win this third and decisive game and start the playoffs on the road to TI?
Damn. Such an easy... I'm 50-50, whatever. I'll go with Talon. If I win, the chat is going to think I'm a brainiac. If I don't, they're going to flame me anyway. But no. So my reasoning behind this is 60-minute game, gut-wrenching as it was. I feel like you get the pump after that, right? Like it's much easier to keep on winning after a game such as this one.
Yeah, they're going to get that boost of momentum, hopefully. And we see the discussion happening in the gaming camp. Diracho really...
You see what I mean?
He's taking a break. You need to breathe, bro. Oh, that game was tough. It was so long. Even how it's a tough game, guys, but even Talon is like, yo, guys, maybe we should have closed that one out earlier.
Yeah, they won that one. They're still looking like, end of the day, they've probably been up since this morning, getting ready for this series, discussing some last minute draft prep, maybe playing a scrim or two. And, they're looking like, whew, we still got to play one more. So, both teams are going to have to really dig deep to get that last bit of energy reserve ready for game 3.
To make matters worse, your reward for winning this one, yeah, sure, you proceed into the upper bracket of the playoffs here on the road to TI, but your reward is playing Team Liquid.
Oof.
Good luck. Fun, enjoyable. A Team Liquid team that has beaten both of these squads, maybe not necessarily in the grand final scenario, but the road that they've had at Riyadh, Team Liquid looked really good against both of them. They've been able to get these Ws. This is a scary place to be if you're one of the teams here. For one last game, put it on the line, but you got to win. Got to look for that W. So with that, we're going to find out who has the distinct pleasure of starting the playoffs in the upper bracket, who has the maybe displeasure of ensuring they have to go up against Team Liquid, but most of all, who has the privilege of entertaining us with some stellar Dota 2. And to find out, we send it to our casting duo. We have Aries, we have Danog. Gentlemen, for the final time tonight, take it away.
Gaming Gladiators, the team that has been the most dominant through the entirety of this season, find themselves one game away of potentially starting the road to the international playoffs in that lower bracket. And we have seen in recent history, Talon, they have been able to even knock them out at Riyadh as well. Will that continue? We get a game 3, first one of the day. Like the panel was saying, it is not easy to be able to come back, calm the nerves from a 60-minute defeat. So that's where Talon thrive. In Gaming Gladiators, though, be able to find a way back.
We'll have to wait and see. I mean, I was watching the cameras there. Duracho, he looked pretty exhausted at the end of that one. And you see the cool tattoo he had in his hand as well? I had time to whip my camera out with the old Google Translate. It says crime on his hand. And I feel like they thought it was a crime that they lost that game, considering the number of times that they were able to catch out these Talon heroes without the buyback and still weren't able to end that game. So I'm really psyched about this one. I'll be honest, when you and I got the schedule and we found out we were casting this series, I just rubbed my hands together because I knew it would be close. There's a lot of feeling behind this one. And like you mentioned earlier, no team that has started in the lower bracket of that playoff stage has ever won TI. So this means so much for both teams.
We get to see the masterminds behind it go at it again. See why first year go at it as a coach in the competitive scene, and all the big tournaments, there's been 7 out of the year. He has won 5 of them, of course, with Gladiators. That is a incredible track record for him, just entering into the scene. And what is he going to be able to do up against the experience of Sunby? I know the panel was speaking about it. This would be a big draft advantage if you can be able to beat the Invoker, which they did in game 1. Are you going to be able to find a strategy to deal with the Bristleback? And, well, they actually don't even want to deal with how Jabs was able to play in that previous game.
And it's going to be the exact same format as well. Game in first pick, Talon, Radiant. So we're not seeing anything too much changing up. You would assume that they have similar sorts of strats for like hero pools to go back to. I know whenever we've seen, the likes of the PA, the Sven, not really being picked right now, but the Gyrocopter being played up on the dire side, it's a lot more viable, but we're not going to see any crazy shenanigans like that. Who knows? Maybe it's just going to be Gaming Gladiators starting out with the Muerto once again. They've got a really good record with it. It wasn't banned out in the last draft. Maybe they just go back to what works for them.
5 seconds remaining.
You're going to be that respect as well with Ace's Brew that we saw last game banned.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of decisions that need to be made.
It did last fairly long into that draft as well, right? And at the end of the day, Talon picked a Naga Siren into it as well, which was kind of puzzling a little bit. But you know what? I'm sure they got some learnings out of that one. It's not like game one was a stomp, right? Up until 35 minutes, it was literally dead even. So it really just does come down to those minor little details. Ollie and Jabs just going absolutely bananas, TPing in, ratting the base. It's all that sort of thing that really does start to add up. And we didn't even mention Ollie with his Divine Rape. He ended up doing 199 damage to buildings, so it didn't really influence things all that much. Looks like they want to get rid of the Primal Beast as well. Lots of tanky boys removed. I like it, because this really does feel like Gaming Gladiator style, right? Just be unkillable.
So what gets let through, though? You've got Templar Assassin, Spirit Breaker, is some of the ones that have previously been banned out in both of the other games. Brewmaster's going to be there, Moeta. You've got to be looking at Talon's supports. We've seen the Nature's Prophet played multiple times from Q, Pugner as well. So there is that Templar Assassin ban. And they're going to stand the Spirit Breaker for themselves.
You know, I was telling you, I felt like this is the hero of the tournament. It hasn't been picked enough to be, but it's just so busted. Of course, Collapse makes it look a lot better than what it already is, but I just love it, right? You've got so much level of flexibility. You can play it as a core or a support. You can one-shot creep waves. And once again, I like this a lot. We've seen back all the way when he was playing on Motivate Trust in 2020, Q has the capability of playing this Dawnbreaker, and he plays it at such a high level. But of course, it's been Jabs that's had a lot more success on it in recent times. And once again, they've given him one of these lanes that is going to probably be advantageous, because you really want to be playing with Jabs on the front foot. That's where he feels most confident. I mean, you just think back to when the Nature's Prophet core meta was really a thing. I don't think Talon lost more than a couple of games whenever he was able to pick that up early on.
And you see they're going to make sure Q doesn't go back into the tusk, which can be very scary with the tag team Starbreaker combo. So not have that to play with. It is a question of how are you going to potentially deal with the Invoker. I mean, Spirit Breaker can go back and forth. Tornado is always frustrating, but any hero that gets on top of the Invoker can always prove to be a bit an issue. So do they feel like the SB is enough to be deterrent, and they're just going to make sure Makoto has to play a different hero now in this final game?
Speaking of Q, I wouldn't hate seeing him pick up Dark Willow this game. Obviously, it goes away from the 3 games in a row that they've had double melee in the off lane. I think so, it has, but it's pretty good against the Spirit Breaker just to be able to lay down the brambles. Then, you're going to get caught up in those when you're trying to make a charge through happen. You're a natural Yule Scepter builder, which of course feels great against the Bulldoze, and it's a pretty strong kill lane as well, especially even once the lanes do break down, just to be able to layer out the Bedlam onto the Dawnbreaker, who wants to be in and amongst it. It's just way too much damage to be able to overcome. And then again, if it gets to the late game, we know that Q is no stranger to being able to buy the Midas on that position 4. We know how capable a Dark Willow can be if it gets to super late.
It's 6th most picked hero, 52% win rate at the moment for the Dark Willow. I think another support to mention who isn't having as good of a showing percentage-wise is the Shadow Demon, but of course is a pretty good matchup as well versus Spirit Breaker, with the Purge always being a pretty big nuisance. So I would much prefer the Dark Willow though, but of course that is something we've seen Talon run in the past as well.
I'm really considering Gaiman picking up the Silencer for themselves. We saw it absolutely ruin a Dawnbreaker's life whenever it was being played. They do end up getting the Shadow Demon. I just think it's a little too passive for Q style, right? He needs to be in there and amongst it. It might very well be Ollie that ends up playing it, but I know both you and I really do prefer it being played as a position 4, just because you're so much closer to the Ancient stacks, being able to, really start to build them up as we see the Divine Rapier from Ollie look to come through. Look at it, no cares in the world. But against the Spirit Breaker, even if he's able to get into the Aghanim Scepter and the BKB, SD is just so effective. But now do you just flex this Spirit Breaker to a support, and you've committed a Shadow Demon, which we've seen hasn't had the greatest win rate. It's not an amazing lane with the Dawn. And, well, okay. You could set up for, defensive saves with the disruption into like an Ice Path Macro Pyre. Feels pretty nice.
So, this is the hero that we saw banned out in the last phase of the previous game, mentioning that Celery has played it just once so far in the road to the International. I will check now how many other games we've seen now. Only 3 games on the Tikiro so far, so this will be the 4th. And we get the Muetsu as well. So again, this is pretty much it has only been Tofu playing it so far. See if that's going to continue to be the case.
I think it will. Again, and again, these are heroes that are easy to kill, right? And Shadow Demon not necessarily notorious for being the highest damage dealer early on in terms of burst potential, right? But you think of a Spirit Breaker, you think of a Muerta, you think of a Jakiro. There's just so much control, AoE damage, silence, stuns, various types of damage, not just magical or physical, that it really just starts to become a little bit of an issue to be able to deal with as we even get an Earthshaker coming through. So maybe feeling like they need to address that burst issue a little bit, make sure that they can find the pickoff, find the stuns for the Spirit Breaker if he does want to commit heavily in.
Well, you'd have to imagine this is going to be Makoto playing the Earthshaker. He's played it 2 times so far, 0 wins. So obviously, I was going to say maybe those 2 games, 0 wins. Maybe you're not feeling as confident on the high stakes, because we have also seen this hero fall a little bit out of popularity, but you also don't know your mid matchup, which can be scary.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Throwback. Feels pretty good into the Spirit Breaker, doesn't it?
Yes. Yes, it does. We do not yet... How many Morphling games have we seen?
I think Savage has played it once so far. So this is the first time that he's going to have being played it again.
4 games, 75% win rate.
5 seconds remaining.
I'm just thinking what Quinn wants to play into this. Like, you've kind of protected yourself against the Necro with the Shadow Demon pick as well. So kind of next level stuff coming through there from Talon. They would have absolutely loved to play that into both a Morphling and an Earthshaker. And honestly, even the Dawn. Maybe they just look to try and outrage. Never mind. Faceless Void coming through, making sure that they are able to get that initial lockdown. Again, it is going to be into the Dawn potential save, but we know that where Jabs really does thrive is when he's a damage dealer, not so much in the utility-oriented style.
Turn to ban.
This Morphling Void matchup is so interesting. You can go back and forth for quite some time. I know with the strength of that Scepter previously, when Morphling was really strong, it felt like he was a little bit more favored with the bash on Time Walk, when he was able to get on top of the Void and just blow him up from 4 to 0. Can go back and forth. Of course, Morphling has Agshard to protect himself in Chrono.
5 seconds
I don't know. I think you're looking
at better Morphlings in the world than Savage, by the way. I'd say this is the hero that's really made his name. Maybe Ame. Ame's pretty good on it.
Yeah, there's a couple that are close, but really Ed is by his best hero. Potentially some others there. So let's see. And I think Durachio is a very good Faceless Void, and a lot of damage to pump inside that Chronosphere as well. So we are going to be looking for our Quinn hero in the mid lane. Of course, you're more than likely... They're actually even banning out the puck still, so potentially thinking this could be a Shadow Demon 5, like you mentioned, Q playing the Earthshaker, so still trying to cover their tracks.
Does feel a lot more Ollie-ish, the Shadow Demon 5 versus Q, in being able to, make a lot of these plays happen. I suppose just wanting to be able to withstand that early game, right? They revolve so much around mobility. They're not even going to worry about considering the Necro. I mentioned that the Shadow Demon is a pseudo counter to it, but it's just something that Quinn has gone back to time and time again. And I'd be a little worried if Quinn goes into something like a Sniper here, just because I feel like it's potentially a bit too passive, right? A little bit too farm-oriented, not a ton of team fight. Of course, you have a ton of stuff to be able to layer into the Chronosphere if that was the case, but... I just feel like, it would be too much of the same,
What are your thoughts on something like a Queen of Pain for Quinn? Minimal control on Talon.
Queen of Pain, you say?
Queen of Pain, indeed. A pretty good matchup versus the Earthshaker mid lane, if that is going to be the case, and some damage in the Chrono. Puck, Ben definitely maybe signals that. Puck's a pretty good matchup versus the Quap.
We haven't seen a mid Muerta before, but I wouldn't hate that. I mean, it's not horrible against the Shaker. Do get a lot of those early levels as well. You really don't want a Huskar against the Earthshaker. The base damage is just too overwhelming, I think, for the Shaker to have to worry about. What else can we really see? Is it going to be something like maybe a Quinn OD or something like that, just to be able to deal even more of that burst damage?
I mean, that is a very old-fashioned counter to the Morphling. Pure damage against the armor, a Hex Builder, which is always nice. Be interesting if that's the route you want to go down here for Gladiators.
Because what are they lacking? In my opinion, they're lacking a little bit of tower push, right? The Jakiro provides it. The Spirit Breaker allows the creeps to do the work with just being able to one-shot creep waves. But it's once again going to be a little bit more of that passive game, right? We know that Morphling takes a bit of time to come online. It's going to be accelerated somewhat because of the stacks that are going to be picked up. But even getting rid of a Lone Druid and going the Lina instead.
Lina.
Okay. I mean, it's one of those classic laners that's just able to, stay back, stay away from the strong base damage of the Earthshaker. Of course, plenty of that nuke potential as well as damage into the chronosphere. So, you know what? I like it. Quinn doesn't seem massively satisfied with it, though.
Well, he's had an interesting track record with this hero at previous internationals. If I remember correctly, one of his NA teams where he sold, I believe it was a Bloodstone for some item on Alina. Fire, that's a long time ago, but he's played this hero too on the big stage, and it is not one we get too often, but let's see what the response is going to be for Talon.
I want to see more lockdown from them. That is one area that I think they're severely lacking. You can't put everything on the back of the Earthshaker, and you can't allow a Faceless Void or a Alina to be able to do it. I like this. You know, this is what they needed. I'm not sure if it's going to be. Yeah, there we go. It's a mid-tiny.
Okay.
That's what I was kind of expecting. I think
Okay.
they really needed this to be a lot more aggressive. You've still got the potential to be able to, of course, secure a bunch of the creeps with both the Avalanche as well as the Tree Grab. And you've even got some ganking potential as well, right? If there's one area that Alina really does suffer in, it's her survivability, lack of mobility as well. So if there is ever any sort of time where you can get a solid start to the lane out with a Dawnbreaker, one of the strongest laners out there, so probably is going to be the case, then a rotation through from Q could be pretty devastating if you're allowing Makoto to start that snowball.
It is a very volatile hero though, right? Like, we do not see the tiny
10
often
seconds.
at all. So it is another game where we need to put a lot of emphasis on these power runes to be able to help, you know, Quinn's burst potential with Laguna, I should say, and Makoto's rotations as well. The game 3 is everything we would want between these two teams. You know, some of the
Q
best
เล่น
out
เอ
of
ล
the
เชเกอร์
regions, of course, Talon, without a doubt, in Southeast Asia, this is probably the best team we have seen. In fact, it is the best Southeast Asian team we have seen since the likes of T1. And they're able to
It's
have
the only
that.
Southeast Asian team all year to be able to make it out of group stage. That's
There you
how
go.
much they are holding the flag of the entire region. I mean, when you think about all the regions so far at this road to the international, NA 100% advance rate, China 100% advance rate, and Eastern Europe 100% advanced rate. SA 50%, SEA 50%, and I think Western Europe has 80% with only Quest going home so far. So really just the weight of a region on their shoulders. And you know what? I think they've got what it takes to be able to take this one out. You know, the late game, when you saw how affected Duraccio was by that loss, you really felt like the Bloodseeker didn't have too much of a game to be able to play around, and it was a full team performance coming through from the rest of the boys to be able to get them across the line.
Yeah, to continue on with the success rate of the regions, so far they've had 4 teams in every single major, and the only time that they didn't have a top 6 finish was Tundra at Lima, which is wild to say. That's yeah, this has been a region who has been at the top for this year, last year, quite some time, and let's see if it's going to slow down anytime soon.
They instantly dip Duraccio as soon as they get into the game. Also, his positioning going to get popped a little bit, maybe expecting that he might be holding an Observer Ward, but who honestly expects the Faceless Void to be the one holding that sort of thing? So Quinn, it's like he should still be able to get his off. Also, I was playing a little bit of Muerta there on the Lina. Wonder if is there any confusion there between the two? I want a prediction out of you.
I feel
All
like
right, everybody, 30 seconds.
I think
All right,
gaming
battle time.
are more
27
consistent and
seconds.
Talon are more volatile,
26.
and I think they have a lineup that is very hit or miss.
Are they going to hit or are they going to miss? Call it.
That's the big question. It's a big question.
What is the big answer? Answer the question.
I think everyone will hit this game.
ดูไม่ดีเลย
Alright, you're just a Western Europe enjoyer.
What the hell?
A region betrayer, that's what you are.
I'm not a region betrayer.
Here's how I see it. You've got an ancient.
I'm a Dota
they've got-
enjoyer, and hopefully we get just as
Only
crazy.
you should have an ancient.
โอ้
Kidding me? Get mad.
Talon dead.
You're 2 for 2 in the bounties. I'm glad we get a bit of a different dynamic in the mid lane. There's no more invokers
อืม
we have to worry about.
ข้างบนเป็น
That's the big one, man. Come on.
Good to see him on the ban
In the
list for a
bin.
little bit. Yeah. So let's see what your Q's going to be up to. Shenanigans, of course, with the fissures, just to be able to hopefully get this creep wave under the tower. Duraccio is going to make sure he meets the wave to, I mean, it's very difficult to be able to drag it out regardless. So this will help out a lot with Talon's equilibrium. But really, I want to see how mid lane goes. Lina is such a dominant hero in this lane. What can Makoto do with the tree throw early?
I mean, it really just does come down to the skill element, doesn't it? Of course,
คนยากเว้ย
one of the better skilled players, but Makoto has been carrying the torch for SCA for quite some time. A little sad we haven't, I think he's played it once alongside the Pugner, but we haven't seen too much Makoto Storm Spirit coming out yet. Basically solo carrying Boom when he was back a member of that roster.
He's been best mid laner for quite some time in C, right? I mean, Armor has
I think he's been the most improved player overall this entire year.
I mean, this boy is looking incredible when he can get online and when he's got the confidence as well to be able to make those plays. He is a very scary person to verse.
Oh, for sure.
oh shit
Now, how do we feel like this top lane's going to go? I mean, Jakiro is a support we really haven't seen in quite some time, but it's very similar to the Undying where you are a super strong laner. We saw previously, like Talon, so far they have had some concerns. Game 1 in particular with Jabs as Wraith King wasn't able to get off to a good start. Do we think he can this game with the Dawnbreaker Earthshaker lane?
I think Duracho can get off to a pretty nice lane. I think it's really just going to be on the back of Celery, right? We saw that he went the Liquid Fire level 1, just wanted a lot of free harass coming out there, and you never really want to be pushing the wave all that much against the Dawnbreaker. That's where you can get punished and start potentially feeding away to those first bloods.
Oh, goodness, Sean. Nice
Respect to the leader, man. What can you do? Can you do? Also, just wondering what the item build is going to be like on Makoto, but I think both you and I agree that
โอ้โอ้ตายโอ้ nice อ๋อเย็ด
This will be our first blood, and Duracho we force the time walk away. So Talon strike first in our final game.
ไม่ค่อยเนี่ย
just having enough regen as well to be able to withstand themselves.
Oh,
South coming out here on the bottom side. This will be much more passive coming out from Talon, right? 23 Savage. He knows that there really isn't too much kill threat happening down here. And that's the one area that I'm a little worried about for Talon, right? Of course, late game morphling, scary as hell, especially considering all of the heroes that you have the potential to morph into. But the thing is, like, Spirit Break at this really early timing is super scary, and we've seen how effective Tofu can be on the Moira. So not going for just one cookie cutter item build, he really has that true ability to be able to flex so that no matter what the game requires, he's just going to be able to pick up what he needs. And I would have to assume that this game is probably going to be something along the lines of the Spirit Vessel, right? Up against the Morphling was pretty good. Able to have that percent damage, same sort of thing with the Dawn, both for her high HP as well as healing, and it's a core tiny as well. Even just the potential to layer it in onto an Earthshaker and prevent any sort of blink reinitiation coming through.
We are
really well in this mid lane. Really well.
It's just the lane I was going to highlight. But playing Duracho is going to be chon. So yeah, the no armor on Makoto is proving to be a little bit of an issue at the moment. With some of the spells he can spend to be able to get the fiery soul charges. Not going to be able to get another water rune as well, which is very important in regards to how he's going to be able to play this fine line in the resource spam in the mid lane. So we'll need to eventually start to see some supports looking at rotating. Of course, Q hasn't even thought about that just yet with what he's trying to
สู้ไม่ได้เล่นยาก
I mean, he's trying to secure the lane, but this is the thing, right? Have a look up on the top side with Q. He's basically needing to put his body on the line. He doesn't even get the block. It's a half pull, probably the best thing that they could have asked for on Gaming Gladiators. And you don't really feel all that confident with leaving Jabs up here solo as well, considering the fact that the hard camp is still blocked. So if he, maybe if he was able to pull that camp and get it right back next to the tower, you could make this sort of movement. But without that, the possibility just isn't there.
Yeah, and you see, as a result, Makoto is going to have to go all the way back to base because of the spam from Quinn. So you kind of pick this, you have a chance to respond to the Lina. So his last hits are okay, but Quinn is starting to get a little bit more out of control in that area. And all the other lanes are going quite well for Gaming Gladiators too.
Savage Grandmaster on the Morphling, having a pretty decent start to this one. As expected. I've just seen them go down and place an Observer Ward there on the bottom side with the Observer that just expired. So Tofu starting to make the movement towards there. Be able to take that one out. There we go. Celery instant D-Ward. Very nicely done. Also, just understanding that this is the period of time when that siege creep is starting to come along too. So the fact that they've been able to pull this wave might not be the best. It'll be a little bit of damage being pumped into this tower and a full wraparound coming from
A scary position for them. It's going to be able to bounce them back into the Phantoms. Great positioning out of the Spirit Breaker charge. And Q's going to come down, but what can he really do with this rotation? Maybe Celery is in some trouble.
Nah, no damage. No mana on Ollie. There's no chance.
Should be able to go through the portal.
Oh shit, ตาย
They see some freebies and they'll be rewarded. A great rotation through the portal from Celery. You deal with the ward, you stick around, get a couple of big kills. Well, you do not have to worry.
Almost half damage done to that tier 1 tower as well, just with how long and when they made that play. Siege creep coming in. This is a really good early game from Gaming Gladiators, and honestly what they needed, right? We know how scary a late game Morphling can be. Then again, so can a Faceless Void. But, I mean, I feel like a poor Tiny is probably one of the better heroes at being able to address these heroes that all they need is a couple of seconds to get off their full kit of spells, whether it be, Time Walk for safety or aggressively plus the Chronosphere, or the new Lina build, which is much more inclined to be that magic-oriented style with the Laguna Blade.
I'm just really concerned now on what Talon's going to be able to do with their supports to secure the side lanes, because now you're going to have both Celery along with Tofu rotating. Quinn's always going to have the potential if he wants to. You probably don't even need him just with how strong the cores are with their kill threat. And you compare that to an Earthshaker, compare it to a Shadow Demon, it is very limited.
Yeah. And speaking of the Earthshaker and the Shadow Demon, I'm not seeing any stacks starting to be built up as well. So this is the sort of thing that both... they're not amazing at taking it on Talon, but they do have the potential. It's not like they're completely incapable of taking stacks with all three of their cores.
That's, again... Sorry, you go.
Yeah,
I was just about to say, like, one thing that I was going to mention was you and I, we cast a lot of Eastern European Dota, right? And we saw, as we're going to make a play happen? Not quite. GPK, one of the best Tinies in the world, and his item build is like the power treads, then into the blink dagger, starting to scale off the back of that. Makoto, as he looks to go for a kill, gets dead shotted back with the haste truth, so he gets the hell out of there. He's gone for the phase boots route, so this is much more of like less of a farming build, more of a kill build.
It's fancy placements. Oh, what Guardian's going to be in the fish is a little bit awkward though. Judge
Whoa.
Makoto will struggle to follow up. Dude, everyone from Gladiators recognize the importance of this fight. Duraccio is ready with a Chrono, but the instant don't get split away from Talon, he'll still get an opportunity to use it on the up laner. She's ready to go for the 10v2. Still with Tofu, but cautious, Q's going to be able to buy him some time. Attribute shift at the ready, so Savage will not be blown up.
It's just that level 1 of the time dilation. So lasted the 8 seconds. The one that was stolen over as hit Duraccio. He's going to have to take the illusion route. Nice little turnaround though by Talon, getting a little bit more.
Sorry, I was watching the illusions just chase down Q to try and pop the clarity.
The real important things. No, I completely understand. With the Solar Guardian coming in, I was expecting that to be able to land in the middle of the ice path that Celery had laid down, but somehow it just lands slightly off to the side, and because of that, you get the additional little bit of damage that
but Radiant's
ends
bottom
up being
tower
the end
is
of
getting
Quinn.
obliterated. Okay.
And double Midas has been worked on for Gladiators. Ace is so fun, potentially going to be another kill. Savage blown up from 4-0. Mid lane now though. Hey, not even enough damage. You serious, Ace?
ทำไมอะไรวะเนี่ย
Spirit Breaker involvement. Ollie will get the kill onto Celery, but this is getting to some dangerous territory already with the fact that they are 2k ahead, and you're going to have a great Midas timing on Duraccio along with Ace.
Yeah, you will indeed. Again, I said it time and time again, all you need is less and he's already 7.5. 10 minutes. Is this another kill? We'll come up through it though. Just doing that damage to be able to take him out.
คอมโบแม่งดีจริง
Ridiculously fast.
And it's going to be Quinn ridiculously farmed after the kill onto Q. Ollie, nothing he can really do. We'll chuck out a banishment, but it does not matter. And you are in dire straits now for Talon. You desperately need to somehow get kills onto Makoto's Tiny.
That's the thing I was mentioning before, right? If you choose to go this phase boots instead of the power treads and don't opt for something that, sure, you're still rushing the Blink Dagger, but something that's going to allow you to rush that Blink Dagger a little quicker, and then eventually, when you're getting into your next items, whether it be crit, Aghanim Scepter, whatever it might be, it just feels like...
Oh, they're just baiting jabs. He's gone a step too far, and they're going to be able to get the kill onto the Dawnbreaker. They might even get Earthshaker as well. Once again, Tofu spellcasting. Such pivotal factor.
Man. You have to. Like, he's just way too good.
3, 1, and 4. Pretty much the exact same start we saw from him in game 1. He's going to be able to itemize accordingly with whatever is required out of him in this game.
Hope at least is relishing this small amount of time that he's got solo in the mid lane. A little bit of pressure on tower as well.
This is a gigantic kill. I think he does, especially with Ola here. That is a much needed kill. Savage able to bring down Ace, who was off to an incredible start this game on the offlane Spirit Breaker.
Just slow him down whenever possible.
เป็นหาเรื่องเบร
It's about the time that he's going to start becoming a bit more of a menace, right? You can look to play a little bit more team fight oriented now on the Spirit Breaker, considering you've finished up that minus. You're always going to have that little bit of a recovery mechanism. And just target Makoto, basically. Like, he does not have his Blink Dagger yet. He's still running around, not too much active net worth that he's looking to play around with. And if you can just look to hinder that further and further, it means that the Faceless Void gets more usages out of the Midas. The Faceless Void gets to start building into his farm.
โอ้ shit โดน
Coming in once again.
As well. And it's the same recipe always. Gladiators, so much emphasis on securing power. It's Talon only bring 2. And they're going to be punished for that. If you're going to go for these runes, you need to bring members.
Yeah, tale as old as time. Gaming Gladiators playing around those power runes, and for a good reason. We saw, granted, he's not the hero for it, but Quinn able to outskill Makoto in the laning stage.
โอ้แม่งสู้ไม่ได้เลยอะ
Everything to make sure that continues into this early mid game. 4K net worth advantage. Savage at least has been given the role to be able to carry this game with this late pick Morphling, but I'm still a little scared about their prospects moving forward. You need that initiation, you need that damage output coming from jabs, and he's gone a little bit more conservative with his items. Not the highest net worth, and just a couple of braces so that he at least survives that little bit further.
And that means he's going to have a difficult time at scaling, so we might not see like that Echo Saber Deso. Might have to look at the Blade Mail. There is a decent chunk of uncontrollable damage from Gladiators. See what the decision is going to be for your friend Dawnbreaker. You need to also eventually consider about how you give Q a lane. So he's going to need a blink as well, only level 6, 13 minutes in.
Might be around the time that Makoto is looking to try and start making some of these plays, right? He's getting close towards the Blink Dagger for himself, 250 gold away. Maybe that's the sort of time that you, alongside the Shadow Demon with the Disseminate plus the Dawnbreaker, is able to make a lot of these kills happen.
But Radiant's bottom tower is getting
They will break the attempt, replicating Gaming Gladiators play. If they're not quick though, Dire's going to smoke and go through the portal.
Yeah.
It has to be perfect because Darachu has the boys surely, and if they group up for the chrono,
โอ้ shit ไม่รอด
he's going to run up and meet them all. And you can't take a fight even the calling. It's going to be disastrous. They'll still try though.
โอ้โอ้ยอะไรวะเนี่ย
Proving to be an issue. Jabba tries to continue to run, but just to no avail. And they just are all mincemeat running into the grinders. Now Gaming Gladiators don't find Oli as well in no man's land.
ตายถามเลยเหรอ
Savage considers about showing up, but he is far too late.
I feel like that's the sort of play that you make when you've got the 5k advantage, not when you're playing from behind, right? It just felt a little bit slow. You know how much emphasis Gaming Gladiators put specifically this twin gate area control. We saw it right in the laning stage, and we saw it right then. Really nice play, good coordination coming through. I'm a little surprised with how long Jabs was able to survive through that one, to be honest. Eventually started channeling the Solar Guardian, but ran out of juice at the very end.
Makoto again might die. Another strike to the face.
Blink Dagger.
Such a delayed blink timing from Makoto. Again, this hero is so volatile. You see the Lina matchup, and you pick it right into it. You have the confidence to be able to pull it out, but 4 deaths to start the game. And this is a hero that you need to snowball. There is just no other way around it. If this hero is going to be able to scale, going to have a good mid game, you need to be getting kills. He has his blink now, so see what he can do with it though.
Q's fishes have been pretty on point as well. I mean, I think that's something that we do need to highlight from Talon's perspective, that they're doing the best with the situation that's been given to them, but it's just not enough, right? You need to give them a little bit of this extra time, and he's getting it up on this top side. It's a ballsy play. He's sitting that far forward, and someone needs to be given up for it, and it looks like it's going to be Ola.
1,000 net worth lead at the 16-minute mark, and it is not going to stop anytime soon. Gaming Gladiators firm control. Should set up whatever they would like it. Really, it is at the ready just in case a fight breaks out for Talon. What is the play going to be? I mean, you've got a pretty nice ward deep inside the North Jungle. Maybe you smoke, try and connect there.
Middle tower is hanging on by
gets
a
lucky. The fact that there's a bounty rune up on this top-hand side, he should pop it. I mean, that's the difference between having and not having the blink dagger for Q. Speaking of Q, he's the one getting charged as it's about to flip it through to him. Yeah, coming through. Makoto could set up for it, and yeah, he's actually going to stop the charge anyway.
Double blink, you got to go. Savage probably going to look to get involved too.
Smoke as well.
Tofu's in such a good position with this invis. Oh my god, Tofu this game.
MVP by far.
Roger baiting? Can they pull him up 4-0? Let's see.
No, man. If he continued to stay on that pretty quick, there was a small possibility for it. Just using the dead shot to see if anyone was moving forward, and you're pretty capable of just getting your own farm with the calling as well. So that's the first smoke, ineffective by Talon. Also weren't farming during it all.
It's very interesting as well, the dynamic we're going to see out of these two offlaners. They both kind of play a very similar role, where Dawnbreaker plays away from the team and can sometimes have an advantage of being able to shove the map out. And Spiritbreaker does the exact same thing of being able to connect globally. So I think maybe there's a little bit easier of a time for Dai too, because you also now have kill threat onto Dawn whenever he's doing that.
Yep, and you can see I was talking about those natural Yule Scepter builders. I mentioned the Dark Willow in the draft as a potential for Talon. They haven't ended up going for it, but they're still going the Yule Scepter on the Earthshaker. They realize how big of a threat the Spiritbreaker is going to be, and Spiritbreaker, Ace has recognized that he doesn't have anyone that's building any sort of percent-based damage, so he knows that he can get away with going for something like this Heart and be basically unkillable.
What a wild hero. Very versatile in regards to the item build. Like you said, he's a very strong hero at the moment as well. We've seen a lot of people, in particular Claps, take over games with this or something.
If you're in the
He's going to continue to put attention on as we get further into this tournament.
How can you be
look to
allowed
go on
one-shot
Tofu.
level 9 there? It's just not right. But they've got the stuff to be able to make a counter initiation happen. Jirachi is not too far away.
Instant TPs. Oh, Quinn, that long range stun. Can he blow up Savage?
Jirachi is still hungry for it, but it doesn't look like they'll be able to convert. So wasted some TPs, and of course we know that as soon as I saw that Dawnbreaker picked up, I was considering maybe they go for the silencer, but there's nothing really that's going to disrupt this Solar Guardian coming in. Jabs is the one that's had the biggest benefit of a lot of these aggressive plays. Slides out of trouble.
Try to make better use
The
of
wards
it.
from Talon was a big opportunity to get a kill onto the lean, and nonetheless, you got to use some ultimates, but when you're this far behind, we'll take it. 2 kills and maybe a tower just to slightly open up the map.
Yeah.
Dyer's top tower is really taking
Obviously, could have been a lot better. That would have been not even a kill streak from Quinn, but the important thing is he's really starting to get a lot closer towards that Aghanim Scepter for himself. So much burst damage that you've got, and you've got great heroes to be playing in front of you as well. Both the Faceless Void and the Spiritbreaker just set up amazingly for this mid laner.
I want to bring it up with the item progression out of Makoto. I do really like this Midas. I mean, I think that's probably the only route you can really go for at this stage.
Hold on, I'm just having a quick look over at Q, making sure he's not going for a Midas again, but this isn't the game for the Shaker, I don't think.
Oh, you're okay. Midas Shaker.
Radiant's middle tower is about to be a pile
Seems
of
pretty good,
rubble
huh?
rock.
I'm pretty sure. They're really right there to be able to instantly claim this Tormentor as well. They want to make sure that they can get the Demonic Cleanse pretty good against a Jakiro, against the Time Dilation, against the Silence coming as well from the Muerta.
Can they do it without one person dying?
I think so.
No.
Yeah, like,
You gets it, got the extra so, but that would lead it's slowly being clawed back, man. 6,000, but still, Gaming Gladiators like scale incredibly well. The Ratio's BKB, level 15. You almost have heart on Ace.
Level 16, man.
Yeah. We've been talking a lot about Talon and seeing what they can do to get back in this game, but really, Dire are doing everything right to be able to just cement the lead and put themselves in a commanding position to be able to win that next fight and look for Roche or look for some tier 2 towers.
Yeah. No one hanging around to be able to secure the Wisdom Rune at 21 minutes.
You can tell
To be able to get that one over the
queue,
queue, just get him some of those levels so that he's not tempted to go for the Midas once again. But it is a big comeback that they're having to make happen. Might be a lead, so like we said, slowly shrinking, but I'm still not that concerned if I'm a Gaming Gladiators fan, just with being able to farm multiple waves at once, securing a couple of bounty runes. And these guys are nerds, right? They'll know the angles of exactly when and where Ace needs to charge to get maximum benefit out of this Charge of Darkness.
I think this is going to be the ultimate test for Savage. His Morphling is very, very farmed, keeping up with the Ratio, but can he put the boys on his back and get them in position?
This is the perfect item for them, where to be able to make a lot of these plays. Love to be able to take out jabs, to be able to start things off similar to a Spectre, just go on then instead, but it's like it should be all in.
Radiant's middle tower is held down by a brick.
Also get more fish. He's going to stop the charge.
Nicely done by Q.
Kill spree.
Ends up costing them a couple, but could have been much worse.
But that is big now. Like, finally, you've been able to get the tower. Probably one of the weaknesses on Dire. Like, 1 point liquid fire. Their objective taking is not the greatest. But this tier 1 gives you so much more access inside Radiant's jungle and really just helping to continue to secure some of the power runes for Quinn. Double damage rune for the Lina. Very close to the Scepter.
Feels like they're wanting to be fighting pretty soon on Talon, I would imagine, right? You've nearly got the Manta style available for the Morphling. You're able to get that Aghanim Shard for the Tiny, and Japs, I believe, has a BKB coming up. Full BKB. So he can really look to be acting as that frontliner, set up for a lot of this teamfight disruption. It's really going to enable this double blink dag from Kodo and Q to really have a greatest amount of impact.
A pretty good ward that's scouting out multiple members on Die. I think they were just in range to see the smoke.
Yeah.
So everything is at the ready from Dire. Tofu and Ace going to lead the charge only once again. Able to pop this. Q will give him some separation. Should be able to get the counter. Go to the counter. Can they block Quinn? And they will. That is a great start to Archer. Can he find the angle to the corner spear though? He's had to wait for Savage toying with Gaming Gladiators. And now this is 1-2. The perfect start as Makoto's going to jump over the top of the chain control. The Archer protected for the moment for the BKB, but they can continue to chase him down. Ace is going to charge here from downtown. You might need the corner protecting Duracio. In fact, it won't be required, but Ace in some danger. In fact, it's actually Celery. That is the one in trouble. And Talon somehow, some way, find an incredible team fight. They take all thanks to Ollie's positioning.
Ollie's positioning and Q's spell casting, that was perfect use out of that early Aghanim Shard, right? You get the Fisher to get the original block off, then you look to follow it up with just even further stuns. Make sure you delay the Shadow Demon's death for as long as possible. He had the Demonic Purge onto them as well, so they didn't really have that same level. And that was the disruption that I'm talking about, right? It allows you to come in with ththese heroes like the Earthshaker, like the Tiny, and really have that big teamfight impact.
And it's got to give them a bit of a pep in their step now. The confidence for Talon. Incredible waveform from Savage to be able to dodge that time walk jump from Duracho when he was looking for the corner. Just everyone playing the fights perfectly. But you are still not out of that dark territory just yet. Gaming Gladiators with all the map control can continue to hunt. We are seeing this game slowly be clawed back.
I legitimately don't know how they kill Ace. Yeah, it's getting to that point. Maybe later on, if like Tiny gets Giga farmed and he has, Daedalus plus the tree volley, but I think you still need a Spirit Vessel on top of that.
I think Daedalus Savage as well. And until then, just have fun dealing with Ace, who is stupidly farmed. Like, what is his net worth? Are you serious?
Spirit Breaker thinks it's why I labeled him hero of the tournament.
Probably
scanning
one of the
around
more
for
farm
enemy.
Spirit Breakers. I mean, I haven't really seen many others, at least that we were covering. I don't know, again, anyone's topping that at the moment. That is a ridiculous net worth that Ace is playing with, though. Dude, the fact that we actually have somewhat of an even game, like you are getting value out of this Midas. It is stacking up. Makoto, Echo Shot, sorry, Echo Saber into the BKB. And this scan as well. Like you're able to scout, potentially sniff out this movement down to the bottom. They are stalling.
I think at 20 minutes, Ace had the highest net worth on Spirit Break in all games since TI5.
Okay. Alright, very cool.
8 years. It's been that long. I guess there's more farm on the map. I'd probably say the TI5 one was a little more impressive. But anyway, he is playing a phenomenal game.
These words from Talon.
Radiant's middle tower
Really
is
good to see.
about
I
to
mean,
be a
one will get
pile of
T-warded
smoke.
inside the top jungle from Gladiators. We see they are really starting to huddle up together, though. Not playing as loosely as we saw before. What are some items we're getting out of them? Incilia is Solar Crest, so they can definitely look for Roshan. You're going to need some kills, though, to be able to find that Tofu with the 8th lens, but of course they are still farming.
I mean, it's not just for the Roshan, right? It's also for the movement speed for the Spirit Breaker and make him deal even more damage. Speaking of SB, he's nearly got the Lincoln Sphere finished up as well, so that's really going to give you a solution to this damn Shadow Demon. So now it's a matter of, well, we're going to need to put some other spells, some priority on other heroes and getting a lot of that targeted spells off. Ensure that the Spirit Breaker gets a little bit of safety and he's getting charged.
They might get baited. Yeah, Ace going to stop it instantly.
Ooh.
They're coming, though.
Ooh.
It's like they know the ward. Yeah, Sentry already dropped. Ace going to be able to deal with it. And yeah, they're looking to try and control around Roche. Still a very scary position for Talon to be able to take a fight in this close proximity area.
Get control once again. That's all they really want. They want that close area. We know how effective a Muerta could be. We know how effective a Faceless Void and a Jakiro could be around those real choke points. But, and again, I guess you could say the same for Talon.
Hope Dyer's middle tower is insured. Dyer's middle tower.
Take some of that map control.
No.
Their fleet has shrunk from 8k down to 3, while all of these kill attempts are potentially happening. And they're choosing to commit right now. They do not have a scan available though.
Is this the fight you're wanting for Talon? A loss here could give a big opportunity. They're going to go soon. This Roche is down to half health.
Such a big initiation if you're able to get all 3.
They're comping up for a potential echo, then Division. Shadow Demon will provide that. But Makoto lead the charge as well. Look at the calling. Close through the close area, but look at devastating.
โอ้ทารอนได้ว่ะ
It's a great start for Talon. Duracho used an early BKB as well. Talon kiting over the right side. Okay, momentarily. We need to see what Duracho can do with his ulti is savage. He's going to charge over the north side. Duracho doesn't even get to play the team fight. As Talon now can potentially get some more kills. Makoto stops the charge. Ace, 4,200 health. But when he has no heroes to play around him, it doesn't matter how long it takes to kill him off.
That's a strange manner of conduct.
They've got the net worth. They were down 7,000, but they're back in this game and in a commanding position.
How did they do it, man? I do not know. All was just the hideout, that giga farm Spirit Breaker. So the net worth lead, in all reality, was absolutely nothing because they weren't able to get kills off that initiation. They got a great usage out of the spells early on into the piece so they could break that Lincoln Sphere, and it just enabled that little bit of a delay coming through from Ollie. Now with that, with the Philosopher's Stone as well, I mean, that's not even to mention the Age of Steel as well, which he's still holding on to here on Makoto. Needed to pop that BKB super early just to survive Duracio, so you can't really fault it too much for that, but it really is the fight for 23 Savage, wasn't it?
Dude, the positioning and the spell casting, the in and out for Talon, is everyone playing for each other. It's,
Don't look now, but
you have to play nothing but flawless to get back to this position. And now, this could be a repeat. Previous game, we saw Gladiators, they had the lead. All of a sudden, Talon's the one there. Again, I'll mention it a lot at Riyadh. we went the distance in that series with Talon knocking out Gladiators. That could be a repeat as well. Like, how do you settle yourselves now for Dire?
It's a good question, and now Makoto is going to be doing a good amount of right-click damage as well. I mean, he's got the BKB finished up, he's got an Echo Saber finished, he's got, I believe, a tier 3 neutral item and level 18 to be able to play around with as well. So that is a lot of additional bonus burst damage as well as sustained from the right clicks coming through, and a lot of instant prioritization towards the Tormentors as well. Sure, it's great for all the reasons that we mentioned, both the Q on his Earthshaker getting it originally. Now Ollie's got that extra demonic cleanse, that extra layer of survivability against a lot of the silences and slows that they have on Gaming Gladiators. But if you can get away with not having to have Makoto buy an Aghanim shard, that's really significant. Just giving it that extra little bit of farm so that you can turn into this legitimate second hard carry effectively.
We've spoken a lot about what Talon needed to do to get back into this game. Now the topic needs to flip. What do we look for Gladiators? Like, I suppose in these fights, we should say, how do you start for them? Who is that prime target that needs to go?
To me, it's still Ollie, right? Like, if Ollie is not alive, then Ace's game is freed up so much. You know, once he gets into this Aghanim Scepter, he's going to have that debuff immunity during the Charge of Darkness. He's already got the Octarine core, so he's just going to be charging left, right, center, everywhere. And the only hero that stops it is the Shadow Demon. Ollie's positioning has been pretty good so far, and he's got the Blink Dagger to be able to help with that. But maybe you need to commit, for example, on Quinn with the Flame Cloak to go for a little bit of a wraparound and just burst him with the Laguna Blade.
Very interesting decision as well. We're getting a Wind Waker, dude.
Side to pop his smoke on the towers, and we'll have each of the BKB. Still pretty satisfied with that, though.
They're really split. They're going for their own kill. Jab isolated. Getting closer back to the T2 tower. Meanwhile, I mean, there's a straight chrono as well, so everyone else is stuck from running it out, but enjoying it. Duracho just gets the time on away. Savage wants to jump on forward. Don't be giving as he got the damage he does. Wait for him to confirm the kill, and Savage is not done just yet. Your high ground will not stop me. Savage finds it double further to the south. Ace is isolated. We saw prior when he doesn't have any points to play with. He can be one, but Queen's got a TP and has to jump over the right side as the Acro Slam Ace can find an opportunity to charge away, but Queen, he doesn't have the same capability. Tries to fly up to the high ground, but he's going to be cut down. Just what is going on? Claiming Gladiators, they are crumbling.
They are indeed. They won't be able to take any towers off the back of it. Ace immediately looking to shove out that mid wave in the bottom lane off the back of that previous gank attempt onto Jabs. He's not really in a position to be able to take tier 2 towers, but this is what we were waiting to see from the SEA crowd. They were really wanting that Morphling from 23 Savage's most comfortable hero by far, and they're even going to yoink away even more of that control. I think the big difference that I'm really seeing from Gaming Gladiators is that previously they prioritized buying a really early gem, and I feel like Talon have gotten away with a lot of additional vision on the map that they just didn't have prior.
Forget I said that. Their bottom tower is in trouble.
Here we go. Another tier 2 tower going down right before that that Wisdom Rune is about to spawn as well.
Radiant does not like Dire's bottom tower, and it shows.
Extra value. Tofu moving forward just to try and remove a lot of that vision. Again, they don't have the Chronosphere, though, to be able to make these sorts of plays. It looks like they'll be able to still... they get the deny, but they'll get a tier 2 tower, so some more map control for Talon.
It looks like they're just going to go back and try and farm this side of the map as well. Wind Waker, Lincoln's completed.
Probably hoping to get
really big items. It's crazy the fact that 23 Savages somehow usurped Ace in the net worth. Again, we're saying that this Spirit Breaker might be the most farmed in quite some time, but Savage, a Morphling that we do not see often. His best here without a doubt. He had to put the team on the back. He's done that 9, 2, and 3. You could not have asked for a better performance from him, and he's in a position to get them over the finish line and put themselves in the upper bracket.
He was the only one left alone, pretty much, at the start of all of that. And, well, there's little silver linings coming through from Game and Gladiators, right? You've got Quinn, who's level 20 now. Big damage buff coming through for this Magic Lina. 100% spell amplification coming through. I believe Ace has the Shadow Blade completed, so it's another thing that's just going to enable to shows himself.
Oh shit.
Right and left, both supports blown up from 4 to 0. They're not messing around, Talon. They're looking for more as well. But that's the cover of the Shadow Blade. Ace is going to charge into the middle as well. Still have the Chronosphere. Savage with the replicants going to go on Red Dark. They split away. Dark doesn't have a good opportunity for his ultimate final use. It's a wasted Chrono. He'll get no value out of it. And now Makoto can hug. Tofu stuck in no man's land. And Talon just have their number. Gladiators cannot take these fights anymore.
And I was watching 23 that entire time. He's using those Zoomer reflexes to perfection. He was doing like full Agimon, and until he sees the Faceless Void actually use the animation of the Chronosphere, he stays there. He stays the legitimate threat. As soon as he starts to do the animation, that's when he starts morphing, and even the Spirit Vessel isn't enough to be able to get the full effectiveness out of it. Well, at least they get the Courier, but a full lane of Rack's gone.
Yeah.
Doing it for the hold, of course. Charging. They're going to try and take a fight. 3v5. He's got the buyback out of Quinn. He's going to get blown up with the crit from him. He's cautious. A lot of damage onto the wall from Savage. He's in some danger. Finds the waveform out of the base. And what's the call from Talon? He looks to retreat. Maybe set a formation up. They won't even double back. They're happy with that. Somehow they'll find a way to retreat without losing anyone.
You're over the moon about this. I mean, the tier 3 tower is basically dead as well. And a buyback being expended from Quinn means it's going to be so much longer. We talked about that big power spike coming from the level 20. It's really the E-Blade that he was waiting for, both for safety, if you ever do get caught by, the right-clicking 23 Savage, but also just for your own potential. And now it's going to be so much later that it comes online.
Observer's still up down bottom, which they killed Jabs with prior. And they are starting
to respawn. Jabs is a lot tankier as well. He's 23. As the KB as well.
They don't have the Chrono to stop those TPs, which is so prior.
Oh.
Oh, that's not oh my god. That died.
Instant use of the voice line.
Sometimes it is just your lucky day.
Just can't wait for him to get to the neutral camp, I guess.
And this is going to give Talon now an opportunity to set up around this top side. Jump Chrono still on cooldown for another 5 seconds. Tofu gets blown up without remorse. Draxler is going to try and put a little bit of damage into Makoto. Charge from the other side. As well, Ace going to try and deal with Oli. Once again, 23 Savage looking to try and play around the Spirit Breaker. Replicant Ace is in some danger with the push. Great reaction out of the BKB from the morphing, and again, Darachi will have inside to bubble. It is an all-out retreat. They've got to cut their losses. Quinn will juke up to the north. TP's still down for a couple of seconds. Looks like he'll be okay.
Well, they'll be able to get rid of this vision. Once they've removed out Quinn, this would be a dieback. Dude, who ended up going down, and he just ends up getting away. Or does he? Gonna hunt for a little bit more. Again, you've got that invisibility on the Tiny from the Silver Edge, but they're just going to be looking to play around that Roshan, one would assume. I think they're confident enough to be able to go up onto this high ground. It goes away from the steady, composed Talon that we know. Maybe even looking to try and find a pick up onto Duraccio here. They've got the Solar Guardian available. What a pick this would be.
Dyer's top tower is really taking a beat.
Oh, they're TPing into the outpost. They look to find it. Doesn't look like they'll be able to do so.
Oh my god, just saw the banishment again. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Dude, Ollie's SD. The value that you are getting out of this hero. Purges, the banishments. This is one of the better supports. If you're able to get net worth, you can create so much chaos in these late game fights. He has to go. There is probably no other more valuable member out of Talon that needs to be killed first.
I've been stating it like a broken record, man, but they just can't do it, man. His positioning is just way too good. He's got tanky heroes to be able to play in front of him, so he can afford to be sitting that far back. And we saw there Quinn trying to go for that kill attempt, but it just took him way too long. The team fight was basically done by that stage. 23 Savage had done all the jobs that he could have possibly wanted, just taking out multiple heroes.
What happens if we get one good corner out of Duracho? Just one. 1 to 2, potentially 3. It's still down 19,000 gold, and maybe 4, who knows, maybe all 5, but let's just say 2. 1 good chrono with a Macropie with Lean on the outside, even down 19k gold. Is that all they need?
I don't think that's all they need. I think they need like that into a Roshan that ends up giving them a really highly valuable thing like an Active Scepter or a Refresher, right? Like imagine having 2 Chronospheres, for example, if they're able to secure top Roshan after this one goes down. And Makoto is level 25 as well.
Yes, but he was a hell of a cook.
He's got the Aghanim Shard as well, so I was talking about that threat of being a legitimate right-clicker. Well, Makoto's reached that point.
Smoke on smoke.
As well. Doesn't want to let
Oh, shit.
Savage. It's the actual shift to be able to work with. Not going to be able to blow him up before this year's Ace. Ace the Shadow Demon doesn't commit with the charge. And because they group up instantly, split away once again. Duracho doesn't find an opportunity for the corner, but everyone is isolated. Makoto's away from the boys. They're going to need to find some way to protect him in the corner this time. Or could do yours, and that gives them the opportunity to kill off traps as well. Savage against the wall. Can he do it for the instant buybacks? Solid Guardian back in even though Savage
เล่นอะไรวะเนี่ยโอ้โหเย้
Celery will also be killed off inside. The river is up the high ground. Savage goes.
He knows that there's no backdoor protection. He knows that you're going to need to use a buyback for this, otherwise you're losing your entire base. But with no bonus for you to be able to play around. Can they 100 to 0 win? I don't think he can. 35 on the Harrison.
Oh,
No corner for the defense. They can go for the end if they want. Talon knocking on the favorite down to start in the lower bracket.
More buybacks being used. They don't want to give this one up without a fight. This is starting in that lower bracket. A single series enough to be able to wipe you out.
Oh, ตาย
from the Southeast Asian boys. They are never out of any game.
They are into the upper bracket as well. Can the real 23 Savage please stand up, because he was the reason that Talon were able to get back into this game and then get across the line. What a way to be able to finish off this last day of day 1.
But we're going to go do something very, very quick, okay? All right. Guys, I'm sorry to interrupt. A huge moment there. Congratulations, everybody. Well done, well done. Are you feeling good? Are you feeling high energy? All right. Very good. Any words out there? I mean, what a series game 2. That was crazy, man.
Yeah, it's a good game.
Yeah, absolutely. Were you scared? Jabs, the man, the myth, the legend, the bristleback? Yeah? You feeling it?
It was pretty fun, like at that point, the last fight, and Mikota was ratting, and we don't even know what we are doing anymore. It's just like everything is silence. Yeah. It's just like we just playing.
I would have to say, guys, that was like the game of the tournament for me. Very exciting stuff. So thank you guys so much for an incredible show out there. And yeah, I was hype as hell. You guys are so calm and collected. What's going on, man? It's just another day in the office for you? You're in the zone. You're in the zone. Well, get out of the zone, boys. You just kicked some ass. Well done. Everyone shut off your computers. What is it? You guys are done. The computers are off. You guys are just done. Shoes are off here, too. Well done there. All right. Well, I'll let you guys rest, Great job. Congratulations, guys. Go get some food. You earned it. Well done. Enjoy the upper bracket. That's it for us over with Talon. Thank you. Back to you.
For the Talon Esports crew, the reason it's another day at the office because another Morphling game, another comeback, and another situation where a team finds out what happens when you let 23 Savage cook. Gentlemen, Gods, Lizard, big boys, what a game, what a comeback. But Lizard, you kept telling us time and time again throughout this group stage that you never count Talon out. The moment you do, you've pretty much lost yourself.
Yeah, I kept on telling that. I was like, that 1%, you know, you look like a fool 99% of the time, but this 1%. No, Talon, obviously, they had a really rocky start, and I never believed that they're a team that should be 0-4 at the beginning of the tournament, and that's something that they have proven today.
Yeah, one of the things that they also, how they played this game are also interesting, Gods, is because they did two things which I find phenomenal, right? Firstly, 23 Savage Morphling, yes, it's good in terms of the hero-player matchup, but here at the group stages on the road to the International, this was only the 5th game of the Morphling. This is only the 6th game of the Tiny, right? Shadow Demon has a 23% win rate over 22 games. The confidence to go for these hero picks, despite nobody else doing them, despite knowing that some of these heroes are terrible in other people's hands, that shows you a caliber of team that can go generally quite far in a tournament.
Yeah, and I think it's always a good sign when it's like your back's against the wall, but even when it's game 3 or even footing, but it's end of the day, you've just played this like really stressful, long drawn out game, and you're like, all right, we're going to go to our heroes. We believe in this, even if these heroes haven't been the most successful. And particularly, you mentioned the Morphling, like a hero that hasn't been picked up that much and hasn't looked amazing, but this matchup against Spirit Breaker, this may be the Spirit Breaker counter because Spirit Breaker just looks unstoppable. Once you get this Midas Octarine, it's like, what do you do? It just stuns everything, goes through BKB, but it seems like the answer is just being a better Spirit Breaker because you're a Morphling with Replicate.
Yeah, it's one of those combos that was very popular a long time ago, right? Like you had the Spirit Breaker combo with the Morphling on the same team, back when you could replicate allies, and you had the Earthshaker combo with the Morphling, and I believe we have seen a Morphling against the Shaker recently, and it also did really damn well, so why not use the same thing against the Spirit Breaker? But honestly, like in game 2, we were talking about how carries felt kind of useless. They were just there, like this, like a king in chess. He's the most important piece, but he doesn't really do a lot, right? In this game 3, it was completely different. Like the amount of work that was on both of them to do was insane. Morphling, however, and 23 Savage, he just managed to do a little bit more.
Just cooked up a little bit higher, made a better meal of the situation, and that means that Talon Esports will begin the playoffs on the road to TI in the upper bracket. Incredible result for them. A lot of incredible results today. I'm glad about this one because it was our only 2-1 game of the entire day. The only one that went the distance. Gods, everything else was a stomp. Tell me what you think about the results here. Anything that stood out to you as a bit of a surprise?
I think the only maybe upset you could say was the VP taking the 2 over TSM. Most of the odds and most people had, I think, TSM winning that series, but VP stepped it up since the group stage. They really had kind of figured out what heroes work well for them. Every individual player was stepping up, playing.
ดูสิของ
เราด้วยนะครับพร้อมได้อีโมดปั่นๆมากมายไปกดเล่น
Yeah, in the group stage, they just didn't look all that impressive, but they looked amazing today.
กลุ่มสเตจใครเจอใคร
Incredible. Unfortunately, sometimes here, Lizard, your reward for being excellent sucks. Your reward for being a great team, recovering from a shaky start at the beginning of the group stages, is now in the playoffs. Gotta play team spirit, not just the best team in the world, in my opinion, but also a regional matchup. And those are tough, man. That's just so difficult to get.
Yeah, those are tough, but at the same time, when you're like a team that's the underdog in a regional matchup, you always want to take down the king, right, Gods?
I agree so much. The regional matchups, I think, favor the underdogs, if anything, because it's actually like a team you know really well. They probably, you scrim a lot, and often, like, you see it even during the DPC leagues in the online phase, is often those teams, like, who are maybe the second or third best team in the region will take games off that number 1 team. So as far as, tough matchups go, it's probably better that they're playing a regional team.
Well, of course, they're going to be having a difficult time, a difficult matchup against a regional opponent, but as Gods is saying, it'll probably help them out a little bit. Of course, Talon Esports, their reward for victory means taking on Team Liquid again. Well, this time around, though, they'll probably be a bit more disciplined than at their last outing at the Riyadh Masters. Cannot wait to see how that matchup unfolds. And I'm sure you saw that the bracket was still a little bit empty which means we need to populate the rest of those teams in the upper and lower bracket, and we'll do so with a set of games tomorrow, which also have very high potential for some upsets, but definitely for some massive entertainment. We begin the day with LGD taking on Keed Stars, and you know, Keed has been one of the positive surprises so far throughout the international, or the road to the international rather, and I'm hoping to see that continue into tomorrow. We of course follow that up with our first regional matchup, BetBoom taking on Nine Pandas. Tundra versus Nouns is going to be
มาทำอะไรได้เนี่ยอ๋อทางรอดหน่อยสักเกมหนึ่งวะ
Who are you going to ban? How about them? I don't like to look. 5 seconds. Ten seconds left. Well, 8 now. 5 seconds.
ดูทรงไม่น่ารอดอันเนี้ย
Master of beasts.
It's in the bag.
Remember, it's all on you here. A lot of pressure. All on your shoulders. Man, I would be a wreck. All right, let's go.
A short migration.
All right, gang, 30 seconds. 30 seconds to showtime, folks. Let's see those game faces.
Whose spore is this?
Don't make any faces.
This way. On the trail. To me.
That's your ancient they've got. You should have two. Go, get it back. Smash it to bits in front of her.
Unleash the beasts of war. Yes. Oh, yes. I move.
Yeah.
On the track. Agreed. Enough stuff. I'm under attack. Fight or flight. To battle. Greater mastery. Whose spore is this? This way. Enough said. I move. Agreed.
And we have a first kill.
How quickly chaos spreads. Yes. On the trail. Night. battle. Not while I'm around. Forward. Fight or flight. On the track.
Whoop, they're back. All right,
I'll do better next time.
I've had enough of your bounding. Assure migration. My power matures. I'm under attack. Fight or flight. A short migration. Whose spore is this?
Your middle tower might need a little attention. You people, I'm using the term loosely here. I know you're probably a kind of pink bat or a robot made out of fairy water or whatever, but you people need to handle this, and I mean yesterday.
This way.
My sprites are with
The
us.
middle tower is taking a beating. They say history is written by the victor. Save yourself a writing assignment.
On the track.
You're not just.
I move. On the trail. Signal.
Come get healed.
Yes. The beast grows.
ไม่เล่นดีกว่าเดี๋ยวไว้คราวหน้าแล้วกันหัวสัตว์เบื่อได้ไงวะ ลอยอ่ะพอดีกว่าวันนี้เดี๋ยวลองนี้
Time to earn myself up. Tagna! Never sorceries.
All right, get ready.
Oblivion comes. By the nether reaches. I was headed that way myself. Yonder I wander. Out of my way.
รีฟคลาส1,400
A little jaunt. I take and I take. Here, let me give back. Oh, I'm gone. Already there. I channel the power of the nether reaches. Out of my way. Netherly. There's challenge. On my way. I'm going. Oh, yes. You wish. Wandering. Try me. I'll take a crack at it. Why not? Axe runs. A little jaunt. I'll take a crack at it.
สนุกดีเว้ยโอเคเดี๋ยวค่อยกลับมาเล่นนี่พอละบ๊ายบายตึ๊ด